Episode 1. The Rules of Professional Conduct. The episode opens with Mickey getting beaten up in a garage. Before the garage, Mickey has become quite popular after the Trevor Elliott case. He has more clients than he can handle and is being featured in photo shoots and interviews everywhere. On the way over to represent a client, Izzy warns Mickey about letting the fame get into his head. A new client, Russell, is on the hook for indecent exposure, but pleads his innocence. Mickey learns that the DA's office is looking to reopen the Jesus Menendez case, the murder of a woman named Martha. Detective Griggs is the lead on it. Mickey and Maggie go out for dinner and talk about his new fame, Haley, and the effects of Maggie's case on her career. They end up arguing. She leaves, and then the restaurant's head chef gives Mickey free food. They take a liking to each other, and then they hook up. The following morning, Mickey and this woman, Lisa Trammell, get acquainted. He learns that something is troubling her. A building developer, Mitchell Bondurant, is trying to get her out of her lease for new development, but Lisa doesn't want to leave. Later, Lisa visits Mickey's office and shows him the restraining order filed against her by Bondurant. Mickey says he will represent her. Lorna clocks Mickey's behavior when talking to Lisa. Mickey and Jesus visit Detective Griggs, and he interviews Jesus. He asks Jesus about a knife, but Jesus' answer is proven false when he pulls evidence from a witness statement. Mickey is livid that Jesus didn't tell him about the knife, but says he will uncover the truth. Mickey gets Russell off after Mickey convinces the DA that Russell was drugged by someone. Cisco visits his old biker gang to see if he can get a favor from them, and Lorna has started law school to become a real lawyer. When Mickey arrives home, he is met by Russell, who has paid his retainer fee, and now that he has confidentiality, tells Mickey that he killed Martha, not Jesus. Mickey is torn on what to do, especially when Russell threatens Mickey's family if he says anything. Episode 2. Obligations. This episode opens with Mickey visiting his father's old friend, Legal Siegel, who tells Mickey he is in a weird spot, but there is a solution. Russell then calls Mickey and wants help with a ticket, and this is just Russell making sure that Mickey knows he pretty much owns him. Mickey goes to visit an old client by the name of Glory Days, who was busted for solicitation and possession of cocaine. She claims to be innocent, and LAPD is framing her because she testified in Jesus' favor during his original trial. Lorna is starting to think something is up with Cisco as he is acting weird and wonders if he is cheating, but hopes not because they are supposed to get married soon. Glory Days thinks she was framed by a man named Hector Moya, and when Cisco looks into him, he is a major player in a Tijuana drug cartel. With this information, Mickey takes it to Maggie and asks for a deal if they bring her Moya. Glory Days can be freed, and Maggie says she will do what she can. Mickey then heads over to talk to Lisa about her case, and they bond with each other over shared experiences. Mickey thinks he can win her real estate case. Mickey tells Detective Griggs that he won't be working Jesus' case anymore, presumably due to the Russell situation. Griggs even visits Glory Days, and she tells him the man that killed Martha had a tattoo, and obviously Jesus doesn't have one. He doesn't know what to believe. Griggs is suspicious of Mickey as well, and thinks he is hiding something, because why would he drop the Jesus case all of a sudden when he has been fighting it for 10 years now? A few days later, Glory Days is released from jail, and once she gets home, she is attacked by Russell, but luckily before he can kill her, the police show up and arrest him. Griggs then notices Russell's tattoo and matches it to an evidence picture and finally believes Jesus has been innocent this whole time. Mickey secretly planned all of this to happen and then visits Russell in jail and says he is not his lawyer anymore as the retainer has run out since he got arrested again. The episode ends with Lisa calling Mickey asking for help as she has been arrested for the murder of Mitchell Bondurant. Episode 3. Conflicts. The episode opens with Mickey heading down to the station to see Lisa. When he arrives, he is approached by an officer that agrees to tell him some information on Lisa if he helps him find the best tax layer in LA. He agrees, and the officer tells Mickey Lisa might have already admitted guilt in the murder of Bondurant. When Mickey asks her this, she claims to be innocent and didn't say a thing. Mickey says he doesn't care if she is innocent or guilty. He is her lawyer and will do everything he can to win the case. Lorna thinks it is a bad idea for Mickey to represent Lisa as they slept together, but he says he got this and then heads to Haley's horse riding lessons to talk with Maggie. Mickey watches the interrogation footage, and Lisa did say some damning things about Bondurant and admitted to seeing him that day, which is against her restraining order. The bail hearing comes, and the bail is set at $2 million. Lisa doesn't have that money, but Mickey says he might have a plan. At the office, The team brainstorms ideas and starts discussing the case and their stance they're going to go with. Out of nowhere, Lisa walks into the office and Mickey is stunned, but apparently a podcast producer, Henry, paid her bail and wants to have her on his show. Mickey is not thrilled by this one bit because he knows everything she says on the show will be scrutinized. Cisco learned that the murder weapon has not been found, but his death was by a blunt circular object to the back of his head. Lorna confronts Cisco about what he has been doing lately, and he admits that he is trying to pay off all of his debts with the biker gang, so he's not affiliated with them anymore, and Lorna says he should have just told her. Later that night, Izzy introduces her new boyfriend Ray to everyone in the office. Maggie then loses it on Mickey when she discovers he hooked up with Lisa and used his relationship with Maggie to get dirt on Andrea, the prosecutor on the case, so he could get the discovery file. Mickey says he has the right to move on. Lisa then heads over to Mickey's house and she tries to get with him, but he wants to keep it professional while the case is still happening. She asks Mickey if he thinks she is innocent, and he says yes. Episode 4. Discovery. This episode begins with Mickey receiving tons of boxes filled with the discovery paperwork. The team is trying to think why the DA and police are so adamant that Lisa is their killer and not looking in any other directions. Lorna thinks Mickey isn't thinking clearly because of his lust with Lisa, and it's clear there's something about Lisa that Lorna is not a fan of. Mickey wonders about the missing murder weapon, and Izzy states that a hammer is missing from Lisa's toolkit, and it almost exactly fits the description of the murder weapon used, which is bad news bears for Mickey. Mickey asks Lisa about this, but she says it was her ex-husband's, and she doesn't know where it could be as he lives in Mexico now. Mickey wants to call him in to take the stand, but Lisa doesn't know how to get in touch with him. Andrea asks to meet with Mickey and offers Lisa a plea deal, but he knows she has something she isn't telling him if she is doing this. Lisa doesn't want to take the plea. Izzy uncovers that Mitchell Bondurant was bleeding money and suffered a catastrophic financial loss the year prior with his building projects. Cisco thinks they could use this to their advantage as he owed a lot of people a lot of money, and maybe one of them did something about it. Cisco is still following an old acquaintance, Kaz, and he learns that Kaz is an FBI informant and is working on taking the whole biker gang down, and Cisco doesn't know what to think of this. Mickey and Cisco then discover that Bondurant was emailing a man named Alex Grant, who is the son of Sasha Kazarian, a powerful head of an Armenian crime family, and wanted money back for a failed building project called the Terrazzo Project, but was getting no responses. Mickey meets with Andrea and finds out that Andrea is pulling her plea deal, and Mickey knows she found a smoking gun and Lisa could actually be guilty. Episode 5. Suspicious Minds. Mickey tells Lisa about the plea being negated, and Mickey is adamant in finding Jeff, Lisa's ex-husband, but she does not want anything to do with him. Mickey eventually convinces her to shoot him a message at least, and she obliges. The only real witness that can put Lisa at the crime scene is Margot Schaefer, so Mickey is going to work his magic and see if he can discredit this witness, and it would help their case a ton. Elsewhere, Henry released a teaser for his podcast, but Mickey visits him and reminds him that he has power of attorney and will sue if anything is released while the trial is ongoing. He then talks to Lisa about this, and she agrees. Later, Mickey receives a call from Lisa's ex, Jeff, who says he has no desire to be in Lisa's drama and says he doesn't have the hammer. The trial begins, and Margot takes the stand and testifies that she saw Lisa exiting the building exactly where the crime was committed. Mickey cross-examines and shows picture proof that the spot Margot said she was in when she saw Lisa leave is pretty much impossible to see the location. She said she saw Lisa, so she is lying about something. Either she didn't see Lisa leave, or she is lying about where she was when she saw her. The judge warns the prosecution their case is deteriorating fast, and Andrea better have something good. After recess, Andrea calls a forensic scientist to the stand who testifies to finding Bondurant's blood on Lisa's glove. When Mickey hears this, he begins to think Lisa is actually guilty, but he is still going to do his job as her attorney. Meanwhile, Cisco is able to get Kaz a new identity and tells him to leave and never come back. The feds won't even know where he is if he does what Cisco tells him. Later that night, Mickey receives a link to a site that claims Henry is selling Lisa's story to a production company, and Mickey starts to believe that Henry stole the power of attorney out of his car when he wasn't there. Mickey calls and blames Lorna for this because she left it in the car, and they argue over it. When Mickey goes back to his car to look some more, he is attacked by two men who beat him and leave him to die. Episode 6. Withdrawal. Izzy finds him and rushes him to the hospital quickly. Izzy and Mickey then deduce that Izzy's boyfriend Ray and Henry conspired to do this to Mickey so they can release the story and make bank. Lorna then visits and apologizes to Mickey about their fight and thinks she has a way to subpoena Alex Grant, and they are going to use his love for art to do so. He has been searching for a rare art piece, and Lorna wants to use a fake one to lure him in. Lisa also visits Mickey in the hospital, and she believes this is all of her fault for working with Henry. When Alex shows up to check out the painting, he is met with a subpoena letter. Mickey is released from the hospital and spends some time with Maggie and Haley before getting right back on Lisa's case. A few days later, the subpoena hearing starts and Alex Grant has taken the stand. Mickey wants to prove that Grant is involved with the murder of Bondurant. Mickey starts insinuating Grant was doing shady business with Bondurant and has the emails to prove it. Grant's lawyer advises him to plead the fifth, but Grant goes against his attorney's wishes and knows he has to make a public statement now or else he will lose his current project deals. After the hearing is over, Judge Teresa calls both Mickey and Andrea into her chambers, and she tells Mickey that he better get somewhere with this Alex Grant thing because he isn't the one on trial. Lisa is, and Mickey hasn't given a shred of evidence Grant is involved in Bondurant's death. A few emails don't prove a thing. Outside of court, Cisco tells Mickey he found a connection between Henry Dahl and Alex Grant. The company that Henry sold Lisa's story rights to is the same company that is owned by Alex Grant, so it's obvious he wants to spin the story in a direction that makes him look good and Lisa look guilty. Mickey meets with Henry one-on-one and tells him he knows what he did and does admit to stealing the paperwork they signed, but had nothing to do with the attack. Mickey pretty much tells him he is making the rules now, and if Henry tries anything nefarious, he will be summoned in court. The episode ends with Maggie and Mickey hooking up like old times, and then her telling him she is moving to San Diego with Haley. Episode 7. Cui Bono. Mickey receives a mysterious letter on his front door and then meets with Legal Siegel once again and asks him what to do with this FBI target letter, saying Grant is the focus of a federal investigation, and Siegel says to confirm the validity of the letter first. Mickey thinks if the letter is legit, this will help him tie Grant directly to Bondurant and what they were discussing in their emails. The first day of the trial begins, and both sides give opening statements. Andrea paints Lisa as a terrible person who killed Bondurant out of a fit of rage, and Mickey tells the jury she was framed, and he is going to prove it to them without a questionable doubt. Andrea unprofessionally interrupts Mickey multiple times during his statement. Cisco meets with someone from the FBI, trying to find a copy of the original letter, and it is in fact legit. Detective O'Brien is the first to be called to the stand and pretty much backs what the police are saying, that Lisa is the main culprit and they don't have anyone else on suspicion, not even Alex Grant. Local police aren't even investigating Alex Grant, but the feds are. The jury is buying everything O'Brien is giving them, and things are looking bleak for Lisa because Cisco is still waiting for the actual FBI letter to come to him, as he hasn't received it yet. Later, Mickey finally gets his hand on the actual letter and presents it to the court. The letter proves the FBI is looking into Bondurant and Grant's involvement in construction fraud, and Mickey argues this gives Grant motive to kill Bondurant. Andrea tries to discredit the letter and say it means nothing. They are just persons of interest and not actually on trial for anything. Mickey convinces Henry to tell Grant they have nothing on him, and Mickey wants him to take the stand to prove his client is innocent, not to put Grant on trial. During recess, Detective Vasquez, the man in charge of the whole case, very subtle, admits that he was the one that sent Mickey the letter, and he wanted Grant to testify to see what he would say because he really doesn't have anything to prove Grant is guilty of any crimes, but he believes he is. That's why there isn't an ongoing local police investigation. The judge then calls both lawyers into her chambers once again, where Mickey is shocked to see Andrea has found the murder weapon. Episode 8. Covenants and Stipulations. The Hammer has Mickey thinking they are going to lose the case. Lisa says she wants to testify, but he is still very much against it. He will find more witnesses. He still wants to find a way to get Jeff on the stand. The person that found the hammer was a landscaper, and he appears to be extremely nervous about something while testifying. Mickey asks him why it took 6 months for him to discover it. Mickey then throws a curveball and admits to the courtroom that the hammer is in fact Lisa's. Mickey insinuates the hammer may have been planted by law enforcement to ensure the case would be airtight. Lorna thinks Mickey is throwing in the towel even more when he says there is blood on the hammer as well, and pretty much says that the hammer is indeed the murder weapon and did belong to Lisa. Andrea is so confused by Mickey's comments. But it's clear that Mickey has been arguing about Lisa being framed this whole time, and the murder weapon being Lisa's supports that theory even more. In court the next day, one of Lisa's neighbors testifies about Lisa being a bad neighbor and ruthless at times. A photographer also testifies showing a picture he took where Lisa was assaulting Bondurant. Mickey's uses a different angle footage showing Mitchell was attacking Lisa first before the photographer even took the picture. Always two sides to every story. Andrea calls Henry Dahl to the stand, and he shows them raw footage of Lisa admitting to hating Bondurant, but when Mickey can cross-examine, he decides against it. He should out Henry for the dirty tool he is. Mickey, realizing that the last few witnesses have all been in favor of the prosecution, chooses to go down swinging and calls Lisa to the stand. Episode 9. The Fifth Witness. Lisa takes the stand and talks about growing up in a building her father owned, which she later turned into a restaurant herself and became the head chef. She also talks about her marriage with Jeff, Henry, and how much of a nightmare Bondurant was in her life. She tells the jury how Bondurant was trying to take everything from her, and yes, she did dislike him a ton, not enough to kill him. She would never be able to do that to another person. Mickey congratulates Lisa on her testimony, but says the hard part is about to take place whenever Andrea gets to cross-examine. When Andrea gets her turn, she grills Lisa on why she and Jeff separated from each other, which leads to Lisa getting agitated and bursts out at Andrea for her questions. The next witness to take the stand is Renee, who is one of the workers that worked at Lisa's restaurant. She vouches for Lisa at first, but whenever Andrea questions her, she says Lisa can be an abusive boss to her workers, and Andrea is trying to paint Lisa as someone who can't control her temper and is capable of murder. Mickey then brings in the next witness, Dr. Arslanian. A forensic expert claims Lisa was too short to render the blow to the back of Bondurant's head, but Andrea said they don't know the exact circumstances, and Bondurant could have been bending over with his back turned when Lisa struck him. Alex Grant is the next person to take the stand. Mickey talks him up at first and gets him comfortable, then hits him with the threatening emails and accuses Grant of bribing relevant public officials to get the approvals needed on his construction projects. Mickey brings up the FBI investigation, and Grant says he has nothing to hide and he invites any investigation anyone wants to do. But when Mickey brings up Grant visiting his dad in prison, who is a mafia boss, Grant has no other choice but to plead the fifth, as he doesn't want to incriminate himself or his family. The judge is furious with Mickey for jeopardizing the whole trial, and Mickey says he had no idea that would happen. He didn't force Grant to plead the fifth. Cisco is then called to the stand. Cisco testifies that he found evidence of a nefarious courier service that was tied to Grant's name had been seen outside Bondurant's work building the day he was killed. During closing statements, Andrea pleads with the jury to not buy into Mickey's antics and look at the evidence that proves Lisa is guilty. The episode closes with Mickey realizing a man named Walter Kim disguised himself as a health inspector for Lisa's store the day before the death and was the one to frame Lisa of Bondurant's murder by the order of Alex Grant. The only problem, he needs Kim to testify, but he has been missing for 2 days. Episode 10. Bury Your Past. Season Finale. The finale day of court has arrived, and Mickey is nervous because he really wants this win. Still no sign of Walter Kim, and Cisco has been looking hard. After jury deliberation, the jury finds Lisa Trammell not guilty. Andrea is pretty upset about this verdict, as we can see. Cisco finds more evidence that might lead Walter Kim to be guilty as the real murderer, but Mickey tells him to leave it for the police. Their job is done here. Lisa and Mickey have a nice celebratory hookup since the trial is done. Mickey is a dog, I tell ya. Andrea tells Mickey he did a great job, and they are more alike than she thought before. At the beach with Haley, Mickey has a revelation that involves Jeff Trammell, Lisa's ex-husband, who supposedly he spoke not too long ago on the phone. Mickey discovers what Lisa has been hiding this whole time. When he received a call from Jeff earlier in the season, it was actually one of Lisa's old friends pretending to be him. Mickey goes over to her house to confront her about her lies. Lisa admits to killing Jeff and burying him in the restaurant garden. He wanted a divorce, and she didn't want him to take half of everything she owned, including the restaurant. So she killed him and made it seem like he fled to Mexico. This is the main reason Lisa didn't want to sell the restaurant. She was afraid of Bondurant finding the dead body. When Mickey goes to his car, he tells Lorna he called the cops so she can be arrested for the murder of Jeff Trammell, not Bondurant this time. Double jeopardy doesn't work that way, Lisa. Siegel warns Mickey that he made some enemies during the trial and to expect Alex Grant to retaliate. Mickey then receives a new client by the name of Julian, and he heads down to meet this client accused of murder. The person Julian is accused of murdering? None other than Mickey's friend Glory Days. Obviously setting up for Season 3. But that is it for this season, friends. We'll be doing the next 2 seasons here shortly. Thanks for watching.